Hi guys. Okay, so this is going to be my labor and delivery vlog story, and it's going to be pretty informal because I'm just holding the camera, so if it's shaking, I'm sorry, but I just can't be bothered to do my makeup or hair or use a tripod or anything like that. And I'm going to try and make it as quick as possible because Ronan is sleeping right now, and he could wake up at any time. I should probably be sleeping because he's sleeping, but I just want to get this story out to you guys because it's already been like almost 2 weeks since I had him, and it's been crazy 2 weeks, which is why I haven't had time. And I might make a separate video about postpartum because that is pretty much a combination of my postpartum health issues and his latching breastfeeding problems. Like, that combined is why it's been so crazy for me and why I'm pretty much on bed rest. So I haven't had time to make videos for you guys, but I'm hoping it's starting to be an upward hill as far as my health and as far as him eating better and gaining weight. So hopefully soon I will look like me and have more time to provide those videos for you guys. But I'm just gonna jump right into my birth story. So if you haven't already watched my 39-week update or my birth vlog, I would probably do that first so that all this kind of like makes sense. And I'm gonna start back when I was 39 weeks pregnant because obviously I was not having any signs that I was gonna go into labor. My 39-week update, that was 2 days before I gave birth to him, and I was just like still thinking that he was gonna come a week late, and he came before his due date. So I pretty much thought he was gonna come late because I had no real big signs of him coming, and I've been doing all that I could to get him to come out with like pineapple and the tea and the pills, and maybe all that stuff worked. I definitely think the tea worked. Red raspberry leaf tea, I'm pretty sure, sped up. It's supposed to like make your birth fast, and mine was very fast. So yeah, so back to then, I wasn't having symptoms except for the Braxton Hicks, which now that I think about it, those Braxton Hicks, a lot of them, especially obviously the ones on the day of when I had him and I was at work. I still worked Thursday when I had him, and I was supposed to work Friday the day after, and I had to call out and be like, I can't work because I'm about to have my son. So all those Braxton Hicks, they were really close together. Like, during my 39-week update, I remember saying like that some of them were 5 minutes apart for 30 to a minute, you know, they were like lasting a while, 30 seconds to a minute, sorry. And so those were obviously getting ready, but since my midwives never checked me, I didn't know like how dilated I was or anything. So as far as I knew, he was just not on his way. So yeah, I went to work Thursday, which is the day I had him, and I had Braxton Hicks, and some of them were painful, some of them weren't. And I was just really uncomfortable, which I had been for like a week. I mean, my feet hurt, my hips hurt, my back hurt, just everything was not fun. So that seemed normal to me. And then after work, I went to the grocery store with my mom and just like walked around a lot, and I complained a lot because who wants to walk around when you're tired and pregnant? And maybe that is what, maybe all this walking and working is really what made everything just like progress really fast, but I had no clue. So I went home and we had dinner, and we're all joking, like talking to my tummy, like, come on, come out, you have to come out. And there's a restaurant in my hometown, and it's like gonna close down soon to move like locations. So I was kind of bitching about how like I really wanted to get dessert there before that happens, because I was like, well, once I have him, I'm not gonna be able to go out to eat or like to the movies and stuff like that anymore. So they were like, okay, we'll go tomorrow night, like Friday night. And as soon as they said that, I had a very painful Braxton Hicks contraction, which I didn't tell them about because they were still just off talking about like, oh, making plans for us, and I was thinking in my head, that really hurt. I wonder if I'll even make it to then. Like, what if because they said that, now I'm jinxed and I'm just gonna have him now and I'm not gonna get dessert at that place, which is true. So I was like, well, that kind of hurt, so I excused myself from the dinner table and I went and laid on the couch. And then like 2 minutes after I laid on that couch, I heard kind of like a pop kind of noise slash sensation, and I thought a little bit of pee came out. But then also in my head, I was thinking, the part of me that wasn't in denial was like, okay, I have heard many stories where people thought that they peed themselves and it was their water breaking, because your water doesn't always gush. Sometimes it like trickles and then like eventually it'll gush out. So I got up and my mom was in the bathroom and I was kind of like, get out of the bathroom because I think my water broke, I'm not sure. So I pulled down my underwear and they were pink, which made me kind of nervous, but my mom said it was probably my bloody show. So I sat down and went to the bathroom and that was also pink, and there was like kind of, I don't know, there was weird stuff in there too, like that wasn't pink, which I'm pretty sure was my mucus plug. So I think all that happened like at once. I think it was like bloody show, mucus plug, and water breaking was just like all together. And I was kind of nervous because of the color, but my mom was like, girl, you're fine. So I was just kind of freaking out, and I couldn't remember the number to the hospital because the number to the midwives is different than the number to the hospital, and after like 4 o'clock you have to call the hospital and get them to page the midwife on call. So I did that. I finally found the number and they said, you know, she'll call you back, and if she doesn't call within 20 minutes, call us back. And I was like, she better call back, because I knew that the midwife on call was the one that I didn't like. And I was like, she's gonna deliver my baby. I told you guys, I knew she would deliver my baby. But my mom and her boyfriend were still saying, you know, she's on call until midnight. And since most births, I mean, it was like 8 o'clock when my water broke, they were thinking, you know, I'll be in labor for a while and they'll switch midwives and I won't have her. But I knew, I like sensed it in my body that this was happening. So she called back actually pretty quickly, and I was already in a lot of pain. My contractions that they've been timing were 2 minutes apart, lasting pretty much a minute or more sometimes. And so that was really fast and really crazy. And I had trouble talking to her on the phone, like keeping it together, because I had been doing my Lamaze like kind of thing. But I did a really good job, because later she told me that she didn't know like how far along I was because I was so calm and collected on the phone. So yeah, I did a good job. I don't know if my pain tolerance is really good. It has never been. I was nervous. My mom was nervous because I have a very low pain tolerance level. But maybe it's not as low as I thought. Yeah. So yeah, the midwife told me that I should just take my sweet time basically and shower and like get my stuff together and come in when I want to, and they'll check, like they were gonna swab and check and see if it was my water that broke. But clearly I felt it was my water that broke because I was having mad contractions. So I packed my bag, because it was pretty much already packed, and then my mom and her boyfriend were like doing their, you know, family. They just did their typical thing where they were taking forever to get ready and like, oh, do I need this? And I was like, hey, like, hurry up, because it hurt so bad that I was convinced I was going to have him very soon. And them being adults and having more experience, I mean, labor usually takes like 12 plus hours sometimes, so they were like, it's all good. It wasn't. So yeah, we finally got out of the house at like 9:30, so that was like an hour and a half kind of from when my water broke. I labored at home for like an hour and a half technically, and just in so much pain, like swaying, doing my breathing, focal points, all that stuff. And we got to the hospital like 15 minutes later, so like 9:45-ish, and they got a wheelchair. I signed in. The guy who pushed me up into labor and delivery, my mom said he was going really fast. Like, I remember he was pushing me really fast because he was probably really scared by all my like contractions that I was having and swaying in the wheelchair. So we got up there, and then like the nurse that checked me in, I'm pretty sure could tell that I was in labor, because I was trying to sign in, and literally I would like sign one paper, have a contraction, they'd have to wait, and then I would sign another, and then they'd wait. And then she like got me on the scale to like weigh me, and like I had another one. She brought me into this room. I like grabbed the wall and was like swaying and stuff. So she was like, we're not going to actually check you, your fluid and stuff to see. I'm positive your water broke, and I'm positive that you're in labor right now. So she got the midwife to come check me, and I was in all kinds of pain, and also I was feeling a lot of pressure, which I know from watching lots of labor and delivery stories means usually if you feel like that poopy feeling, like you have to push out something, that you probably do have to push out the baby. So I was in my head thinking I'm very far along, and obviously everyone else was probably thinking she's probably like 5 centimeters along and just in a lot of pain. So the midwife came and checked me, and she was like, she's 8 to 9 centimeters along. So everyone was blown away because I had not been in labor for very long at all. I mean, active labor. I was probably in labor like during the day while I was at work, and I just didn't know. And so, yeah, I posted on Facebook so that people could guess the weight of the baby. My mom texted like my sisters and stuff so that maybe they could come up from like New Hampshire and Massachusetts really quick, because, but I mean, I was 9 centimeters basically, so they weren't gonna make it. So they started filling up the tub because I wanted to have a natural water birth, and I thought in my head that I would not get to have a natural birth because my pain tolerance is so low that I assumed I would break and have an epidural. But there was no time to even have an epidural, and I didn't even remember that I could have had gas. Like, I didn't remember that until I just today watched someone's video and they used the gas, and I was like, I could have still used that, but I was just like, I don't know. So I did it all natural, which is crazy to me. And yeah, so they barely had time to fill up the tub. Obviously that's part of why the birth vlog, I don't have any video like before I'm actually in labor. Like, I don't have very much video of the birth and everything. I'm lucky that I even got that on camera because everything was so fast and no one was prepared, and it was just crazy. So the beginning of my birth vlog, when I'm on the bed, that is after I've been checked and I'm 8 to 9 centimeters dilated, and I'm just trying to keep my cool, trying to breathe through that pain and not push the baby out because I have that pushing feeling already. Yeah, and so then they're filling up the tub. They don't even fill up the tub all the way before they tell me that I can get in because I just keep having that pushing feeling. And she checks me again and she's like, yeah, you're basically like ready to push. So I get in the tub and they're like, does it feel better? I'm like, nope. And I'm like crazy, whipping my hair around, like possessed looking. Because I don't know, you just like, when you're in labor, you do the weirdest things. Like, your body just kind of takes over, and I just like breathed through it and tried my best. So I looked kind of crazy. I felt way crazier. Like, I felt like I was like yelling and doing all kinds of stuff. And then when I watched it back, I was like pretty calm, which makes sense because the nurses, I think even in the birth video, kept saying like she has such great control, like she's being so calm and stuff. I felt like a crazy person inside. I was in so much pain. But yeah, I did a pretty good job, so I'm pretty proud of myself when I watch it back. Unfortunately, my camera like recorded all my birth videos as MP4, and so I couldn't convert them and I couldn't put them on iMovie, so I had to use like a trial converter which only let me convert the first half of every video. So my birth vlog could have been like twice as long if that hadn't been an issue. I have a lot of videos of like my mom cutting the cord and like stuff that I couldn't put on the video because it won't let me upload it. Anyways, back to the story. So yeah, I'm in the tub. I pushed for less than an hour. I was pushing so hard. I think I said I popped like a ton of blood vessels in my head because I was just like, get this baby out of me. Like, it hurt so bad. And I kept reaching up and touching, like she was like, oh, you can feel the baby. So I would reach up and like touch his head, and it felt so weird. But it was good to like feel that, to know how much progression I'm making, but it was also frustrating because you're pushing so hard with a contraction and then you reach up and it feels kind of the same. You're like, ugh. And the burning, when his head was like getting further, it burned. That's when I was really pushing really hard, even though I didn't want to tear like a lot, but at that point I was kind of like, I really don't care if I tear, I want him out of me now. So yeah, I did. I got him out very quickly, which was good and also later not good because babies are supposed to be in that birth canal for a while. It kind of pushes out like toxins and like fluid and stuff out of them. So for the next day or two he was kind of coughing up some fluid because he wasn't in there very long. And I had him at 11:20 p.m. So my water broke at 8 and I had him at 11:20. So my sister was on the road from New Hampshire and my mom was already like, she had him, sorry. it was crazy. And the nurses and the midwife, they couldn't believe it. Like, that doesn't happen with your first baby. It barely happens with like any babies most of the time. My mom's first, she was in labor for 12 hours, which was considered pretty short. I was in labor for basically 3. So it was just crazy. Like, I don't know. I still couldn't believe it. I was in shock. And I'm still in shock about it. But I only had a like 2nd-degree tear down there. But it took forever to stitch up. I don't know why. I think the way it tore or something, like, that was horrible. But as far as the birth goes, like, it's kind of true that you kind of forget the pain. Like, I'm still in pain. I don't know how people go out and about like a couple days after they give birth. It's been almost 2 weeks and my lady bits really, really hurt. Like, a lot. A lot. No one prepares you. I think people prepared me better for birth with all these videos than they did for postpartum. But I'll probably make a separate video about postpartum just because I had so many complications and like issues and things that I definitely want to get some information out there, and I definitely want to suggest some products and stuff like that. So if this camera works, then I will be uploading a video in the future about that and kind of explaining how crazy my first 2 weeks have been. But I'm going to, I think, end it there. I think I gave all the information. I mean, yeah, so he was 6 pounds 9 ounces, 19 3/4 inches long. He looks exactly like his dad. He might have my eyes, I can't really tell. And he's so perfect. He's like, I'm gonna tear up right now talking about it. Yeah, I love him so much. So, okay, I'm gonna try to end it before I start crying, but I'm going to insert a postpartum belly shot of almost 2 weeks, like tomorrow at 11:20. He'll be 2 weeks old, and I will have given birth 2 weeks ago. So, yeah, I'm gonna put the postpartum shot in there, and then I will just talk to you guys in the future, I guess. So if you have any questions or things I left out, I'm sure I did. It's just all such a blur, but pretty much a very fast, very wonderful birth, and I got to stick to my birth plan because it was so fast. So I'm very lucky, and I have really enjoyed watching all your vlogs, and for everyone who's still pregnant, I'm really excited for your baby to come, and everyone who was due around my date who had their baby, they're so cute, like I can't. So I will insert the postpartum shot now, and here's my 2 week, basically, postpartum stomach shot. So, not as bad as I thought, really. Kind of smushy, obviously. I used to have an innie belly button, but it's been 2 weeks, so I'm thinking it'll all go back to how it used to be very soon, which is crazy. Like, that baby used to be inside me. So there's that, and then I'm going to end by showing you my little boy because he is still just kind of scritching around, snoozing. Look at all that little baby hair. I thought he'd have way more hair than he does, which is funny, but he's so perfect. I can't believe that he's mine. Bye, guys.